Good evening students, we are once again back in our video lecture for class 10th. I am Mahendra, faculty of Mount Literacy School for Accounts and English PGT. Children, we have already done quite number of chapters. About 7 chapters we have done in our first flight and about 5 to 6 chapters we have done in footprints without feet. But now once again we will be revising these chapters in our video lectures. So to start with, we are going to begin with the first chapter, that is A Letter to God by G.L. Flint's of your book First Flight. Okay, so this is a very nice chapter. As you all know, it's about a person, a poor farmer named what was the name of the farmer? The name of the farmer was Lenko. Okay, so Lenko was a poor farmer who was a firm believer in God, and his belief in God made him blind because he was having blind faith in God. So God, we should remember, children, God does not come himself to help us, but he sends messengers. He sends other human beings to help us. We should have faith, but we should not have blind faith or blind trust. Okay, they say faith can move mountains, but what should we put our faith in? This is the question this story delicately possesses. Lenko is a farmer who writes a letter to God when his crops are ruined, asking for 100 pesos. Pesos is the currency of that country. Does Lenko letter reach God? Does God send him money? Think what your answers to these questions would be, and guess how the story continues before you begin to read it. So we'll begin with the story now, children. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of the low hill. So एक वहाँ पे hill था, and his house was built on that hill. From the height, one could see the river and the fields of the ripe corn. You can see the ripe corn word shows that the crop was ready. The crop was ready to be harvested. Dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lenko, who knew his field intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now we are really going to get some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, yes, God's willing. Means it is God's willing. Water means rain. Water over here means rain. Okay, so he's talking to his wife. One last shower and that will be enough, and that will now the crop will be ready for harvesting. The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all. Come for dinner, children. It was during the meal that, just as Lenko had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have pleasure of feeling of rain on his body. So he was very, very happy. He felt that he was, bestowed with the biggest gift when he felt those big raindrops on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky. These are new coins. The big drops are 10 cents pieces and little ones are 5. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. So वहाँ पे ओले गिरने लगते हैं, and he was very, very scared now. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly. For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the tree. The corn was totally destroyed, the flower gone from the plants. Lenko's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, "The plague of locust are the insects, okay, which destroy the crop, have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn." That night was sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. Means हम लोगों ने मेहनत की, कुछ नहीं निकला उससे. Therefore, there's no one who can help us. We'll all go hungry this year. So this is what he declared in the house. But in hearts of heart of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope: help from God. Only God can come and help him. Don't be so upset even though this seems a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. That's what they say, no one dies of hunger. All through the night, Lenko thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything. Even what is deep in the one conscience. Yani God can see everything. Whatever is in your mind, whatever you're thinking, whether good or evil, God knows that. Lenko was an ox of a man, means he was a very hard-working person, working like animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. The following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. So his faith in God made him write a letter to God and ask for help. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes. Because the hailstorms. He wrote to God on an envelope, but put the letter inside and still troubled, went to the town. At the post office, he placed the stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartedly, showed him the letter to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. The postmaster was a fat and amiable, yani peaceful person, a good person, good-natured person, fellow, also broke out laughing. He also started laughing. But almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on his desk commented, "Wait, what faith? I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter." So here the postmaster also wanted कि काश उसके अंदर इतना विश्वास होता है ईश्वर के प्रति जितना इस किसान के अंदर है, जितना इस फार्मर के अंदर है. I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. So in order not to shake the writer's faith, yani Lenko's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. Answer the letter. When he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper. But he stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary. So this was the sacrifice made by the postmaster and his employees, so that they could help, they could give some help to that poor farmer. But what happened in the end, let's see. Several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half, means maybe 65%. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lenko and with a letter containing only a single word signature, God. The following Sunday, Lenko came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was the postmaster himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster experiencing the contentment of a man who had performed a good deed. So he was feeling satisfied that at least in his life he had done a charitable work and a good deed, and because of his act he is helping somebody. Looked on from his office. Lenko showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money, such was his confidence. But he became angry when he counted the money. God could not have made a mistake. Bhagwan ne galti nahi kari, pakka. Nor could he have denied Lenko what he had requested. Immediately Lenko went up to the window, asked for paper and ink. On the public writing table he started to write with much wrinkling of his brow. So he was very, very angry. These words, this phrase is explaining us, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he went to the window to buy a stamp which he licked and then affixed to the envelope. With a blow of his fist, उसने envelope पे ticket ऐसे लगा दिया. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it, said, "God, Of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employs a bunch of crooks. Lenko. So this is what he gave in return to the people who helped him. They wanted to help him quietly. They wanted to do the act of charity. But what Lenko was thinking, so God help us through people, and we should respect the help of the people, or we should respect the God. We should think that God has made them think to help us. So we should not do it in that way, and we should be a firm believer in God, but not a blind believer in God. Okay, thank you children. I hope you must have understood the story. That's all for today. Thank you very much.